Yo, what's going on? Anthony Knight here. Many of you may know me by AKFPV, and I wanted to make this quick video. Hopefully it's pretty quick, I can ramble, but I wanted to make a video for all of you that are getting your new NewBeeDrone Hummingbird race spec whoops in. A lot of people are getting them today. They just went on sale recently, 3 days ago. They sold out immediately, and people are getting them in the mail today. And I've been testing this whoop now for about 2.5 weeks, and I've been unable to figure out a few flaws. And I want to make sure that everyone that's getting these crafts are not only enjoying them and understanding how fast these things are, but also making sure the durability factor is in play. That's huge, right? We want to make sure that these crafts are able to take a beating and go through a lot and continue kicking. That's one of the big reasons a lot of people fall in love with whoops to begin with. So I'm just going to jump right into it. This is a brand new one in box. I'm going to open this up right now, show you guys what it looks like, and then I'm going to cover a couple things here that I really strongly suggest you doing because I have killed one of these and I know why it died, and I've talked to other testers that have also killed these, and I also know why theirs died from discussions. So I want to make sure that you guys don't have that same experience. That's why this testing gets done, and yeah, I just want to cover it with you guys. So looks like we get a cool little sticker in there. Comes with kind of a little build list, if you will. Shows all the different parts of that drone in itself. Got your foam for protection. Looks like it does come with 2 extra sets of Aussie propeller, or no, one extra set of Aussie propellers. You get a little prop puller tool, an extra canopy. Of course, there is your bind and fly, and then you also get some extra screws as well, which is awesome. So with that, I want to dive right into this, guys. So here it is. If you don't have it and you've been thinking about ordering it, here it is. Again, they advertise at 16.5 grams. Everyone's scales are a little bit different. Mine says 16.42. I know Dylan Wynn put out a video. His was 16.45, so it's right in that range. But here it is, guys. Here's the bind and fly, ready to go, ready to fly out the box. Bind to it, set your mode, set your rates, good to go. Now, I want to cover a very important key aspect. So these motors are phenomenal. This board has been great for me. The screws that are in here are very small metal screws, so if you do decide to switch to Peak or Rennie hardware, just make sure that you trim them, because when you put them in, you'll actually notice they will touch your windings, which your motors won't spin. That's a quick mod to get lighter weight. This camera mount, I believe, came in at about 0.62 grams. When I weighed it as is. I can double check that, but the camera mount is, I assume, one of the bigger things a lot of people are going to change. You do have this thong style camera mount on here now, and it comes with 5 different camera angle options, which I haven't measured exactly what those different options are to be exact, but it does get pretty high up there. So with that being said, what is the issue? Now, we, as anyone that's in the whoop world that has been flying whoops for some time, has gone through the dreaded killing VTXs that are built into boards, killing receivers that are built into boards. And it's a pretty clear answer as to why that's happening, and it's the impact point from where the bottom of your camera is to your flight controller in hard crashes, pushing down, creating an impact to your flight controller. Now, with those impacts on this board in specific, it is killing the VTX. I have killed a VTX on one of these boards, and I know of someone that has also killed a couple VTXs on these boards during the testing phase. So whereas this is great out the box, the first thing I'm going to tell you guys to do is get some high density foam and put it between your camera underneath it and your flight controller. I cannot stress this enough, how important this is if you intend to fly this craft, how it comes just like this, bind to it, race with it, which you absolutely can do. This thing is phenomenal out the box, but I want it to last for you guys. If you do not add that high density foam, there is a high probability that with one good hard crash that impacts your camera, that pressure is going to push down, you're going to hit your flight controller, it's going to cause the traces inside the board to break. Now, I don't want you guys to have that. I don't want to have that. I did have that because I was in a testing phase. So again, if you leave this as is, add high density foam in here. Great way to get it. If you guys have any motors, whoop motor boxes, that foam that the motors is kind of in between, that has the cutout of the motors, use that foam, cut that foam. That's perfect. Same thing with 5-inch, 7-inch, whatever, any types of motors for the most part come with that high density foam. Use an X-Acto knife or something and cut out a nice little rectangle. Make sure you get it underneath there. I wouldn't wedge it. I would unbolt the sides and the back of the canopy, pull it forward, get the foam in there and pull it back down. That is going to create a much, much longer lifespan on this new bind and fly, I promise you. So do that. If you guys are sticking with this camera mount and you're sticking with how it comes out the box, please, please, please add high density foam. And then also on top, if you are doing that, this camera plug, hard to see right here, but there is a camera plug on the flight controller right there. Camera plugs right into that. Another really important thing to do is these camera plugs do get loose. After you fly it multiple times and you have multiple crashes, you may notice on a tap or a crash that your screen blacks out and comes back. And all that is just your camera plug getting a little loose. So what I suggest is taking a little E6000 and just putting it on top of that camera plug just to make sure that connection stays there and there's no chance of it disconnecting in flight. Nothing worse than having a camera go out while you're racing or practicing or long ranging because it does have ELRS, so it will go far. Now, for those of you that are like me and you like to modify your whoops to get them down even greater in weight, awesome. I have 2 different options of suggestions of how you should go about that. Now for me, I personally didn't break my VTX with this camera mount and camera, also with no foam in there, but again, I do know of other testers that did exactly just that. So that's why I recommend that high density foam. I'm going to keep one of these stock. I am going to add foam to this. I have multiples of them for my fleet, but I am going to keep one of them stock just to really dig in deeper on the review side of things. But now, I want to show you guys something. Here's one of my Hummingbirds that I broke and I killed the VTX on. And I killed it immediately, you guys. I'm telling you, I flew, I think it was like 1.5 batteries before I killed the VTX on this board. So what I had done is I'm personally a fan of the Tiny Whoop pinch camera. That's my go-to. Great picture, day, night, LED, doesn't matter, phenomenal picture, and it is the lightest weight camera out there on the market right now that you can get. So with that, it goes hand in hand for those of us that are modifying our whoops to make them as light as humanly possible. So with that, guys, here's what I did. All right, so I put in my Rennie hardware on the bottom, peak screws, Rennie, same thing for the most part. There's a very slight weight difference, but I do have my camera mount and then I do have my pinch camera in here. Now, I didn't, I just threw it right on there. If you can see this closely, the VTX UFL is sitting underneath, okay, right directly underneath that camera mount there. So my camera is already applying pressure to this flight controller. Now, I personally removed the plug for the camera on this one and I direct soldered the camera to the board. But when I went to go fly this, 1.5 batteries in, you guys, I was at a race, I hit a gate, and it killed the VTX, all right? And so I started looking through different channels, maybe it changed channels or something, and it actually did. This craft went to low band 5, and it's stuck on there. In Smart Audio, in Betaflight, it says it's on race band 1, it's not, okay? It is absolutely on low band 5, so it is still able to be used as a training rig, but now I don't have the ability to race with this because it doesn't have the ability to get on even one of the 4 channels used at major races, which are all on race band. I'm not even on that band, so it's a training rig for me now, but that's basically what I'm getting at here is this camera mount with this camera being what I like to call low profile or flat profile. It sits flat, right? I hit something, that impact pushed on the flight controller. I'm assuming what happened is it broke traces on the inner parts of the flight controller, which is the common thing to happen here. And there we go, I killed the VTX. So I don't want you guys buying these crafts because I am truly amazed by how phenomenal this craft is. But I want to make sure you guys are taking proper precautions so that you can get that longevity and that life out of these crafts. So don't do what I did here. Okay, guys, if you get this craft and you stick with this mount, high density foam. Now, for those of you that do like these low profile mounts, which is very common and popular in whoop racing these days, what are your options? How do we go about still using this low profile camera mount and not risking damaging the VTX? So there's one option there, okay, and I'm going to show that here on the screen. You guys can see it right there, or should be able to see it right there if I did my editing correctly. So this is a photo of Lonnie Wade, which is Pickle Rick, and he is a phenomenal builder of whoops, absolutely top tier builder of whoops. He races with Hummingbirds, but this photo you're going to notice is the Beta FPV 5-in-1. Okay, now that specific flight controller, as I mentioned earlier, when you have that pressure to the board and you impact, you'll break things, either a VTX and or a receiver. I have killed multiple VTXs and receivers on my Beta 5-in-1s for that exact same reason. Okay, so this isn't just a Hummingbird thing. This isn't, you know, just a specific to this whoop. It's pretty common in whoop racing these days in general. So what can you do? Here's that photo. Okay, looking at that photo, you guys, if you look closely, you can notice that the flight controller is actually mounted on the bottom sides of the posts. So when you get a whoop frame, you have posts that go up, and a lot of them have posts that go down. Now this frame, the Light AF that's going to come with this build when you get yours in the mail today or in the future when you get in on the next order, you're going to see that on the bottom here, and I'll get close, but on the underside there is holes there. Okay, so you can thread through those holes into the posts. So looking at this photo, that's what's being done here. Okay, he is bottom mounting that flight controller, flipping it upside down so the USB, or in this case the JST connector Beta's now using, is not blocking the battery tray bay, which is important. So if you want to use these low profiles, you want to bottom mount your flight controller. Given you do bottom mount that flight controller, you're going to want to flip it upside down so that your USB is not blocking your battery tray. Okay, that is one option for you guys like me that like to run these low profile fixed camera mounts. So personally, I'm going to be bottom mounting one of these. I'm going to go multiple options. I'm going to keep the one stock, do the foam. I'm going to bottom mount one of these with my favorite camera mounts. Shout out Custom FPV for his awesome camera mounts. I love them. Those are what I personally use. And that per Lonnie fixes, you know, the problem. He's actually been flying Hummingbird V3s and V3.1s for months on end without any issues. Now, if you notice in that photo, one last thing, high density foam. It's still there, you guys. Okay, so adding that high density foam is ideal, whether you're sticking with the stock camera mount or doing a bottom mount flight controller with a flat based fixed camera mount. Okay, either way, add that high density foam. I cannot stress that enough, you guys. Do this, please do it, please, 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 please. I want to see you guys really enjoy this craft. I don't want to see those stories of mine broken a first or second battery. It can happen. I don't want that to happen to you guys. That's why I put this video together. Now there's one last option for you as well, and I'm also going to be doing this option. I'm going to do all these just to test them all myself, but I know that no matter which route you take of these three options, I'm confident that your experience and longevity of your whoops life is going to be greater. So the last option, let's say you don't want to bottom mount it, right? I don't want to bottom mount it, but I want my lightweight pinch camera on there, right? I don't want to go through the struggles of having to bottom mount it because it isn't the easiest thing, but it's not the hardest either. but you just don't want to do it, okay? You're like, no, I want to leave it as is. I want my fixed camera mount on there, and I want to put my pinch camera, and that's the end of it. Okay, here's the solution, guys. And this mount is phenomenal. So, and I'll add it down in the link here, or I'll add a link to it as well on Thingiverse, so you guys can go grab the file yourself and print out these camera mounts. Phenomenal. Shout out to Fresh Bread and Bri5 for both collaborating and creating what's now known as the Bri Brain, which is kind of inspired by the Bee Brain mount, but it's got that twist on it, and it's a phenomenal mount. So let me show you that one here, guys. There is that mount right there. These are some prints that Jace did, Borg Slayer, of these mounts, and you can clearly see how much clearance these provide. So they sit higher up, right? So they'll be on your posts, bolted down, but your camera will actually sit higher up. Now, some of you may be thinking this, because this is one of my first thoughts immediately when this happened, was, okay, how much, if it's too high up and I'm racing, is it gonna stick up so much that I'll clip gates? You know, does it go past that perfectly flat pane right there of my back ducts? That was my big concern, because if it sticks out over those, that could be a problem. The answer is no, it doesn't. So it's a really, really good alternative, guys, to have that fixed camera mount that you love. It is, of course, going to be a little different because your camera will sit higher up. It really doesn't cause, in my mind, any type of change. It might just be all psychological. It really feels the same. But now you have a massive gap between your flight controller and your camera. So you guys see the repetition here, what I'm getting at. Impact. Camera impacting your flight controller. That's the problem. You will kill receivers. You will kill VTXs if you do not take these proper precautions. Some of you may be thinking, well, why the heck didn't NewBeeDrone do that out the box? You know what, guys? There's tons of different skilled pilots out there. There is some people that are going to fly this right out the box, probably not see this video, which I hope they do, but they're probably not going to see it. They fly it out the box, and it very well may last for them. Like I said, I've had it for 2.5 weeks that I've been testing it. I put a good 80 packs or so, maybe actually closer to 100, maybe over 100 packs through this whoop as it comes, just like this, and changed nothing. I just flew it like this, over 100 batteries, and I had 0 issues. Phenomenal. And again, that was without the high density foam, but I don't want that testament to be a reason as to why you don't add that foam. Please add that foam, guys. Please, please, please. Worst case scenario, you don't have some high density foam out there. You do get a square foam, top and bottom, in your package of your Hummingbird, guys. So, this is pretty thin here, so I'd probably want to kind of fold it up a little bit when you cut out a piece. You do want it to be in there nice and snug, but if you don't have high density foam laying around somewhere, you got foam in the box. At least use this. That's all I'm asking, is that you please use this, because I want you guys to have a good experience. This craft is phenomenal, top tier. Now, it does come on 4.4.5 CAC already out the gate, which I love. So you have a built-in RPM limiter if you want to activate it, slow this thing down. 90% of people this whoop is going to be too fast for. It's too fast for me. I don't fly this thing past about 70% throttle. I'm gonna make adjustments to change that. I just haven't had a whoop of this power before. This is the fastest thing I've ever flown. It's freaking nuts. But nonetheless, guys, please take those tips. And if you made it through the video and watched the whole thing, thank you. I appreciate you guys watching. But I know I don't do these too often. A lot of people have been asking me, they want me to do these, but I haven't been. But nonetheless, you guys, if you're still watching this, do me a favor, share this around. I just want to spread this knowledge. I just want people that are getting their whoops in today, tomorrow, or plan to buy one in the future, are having a great experience, because this craft truly is the future of tiny whoop racing. And last but not least, just because I know people ask, as of now, yes, this does pass tech inspection for Whooptopia, not even close to failing. I saw anywhere from 25 to, I'd say, 23 milliwatts on every single channel within raceband. Phenomenal, absolutely top tier. The VTX, onboard VTX, is transmitting exactly how it should. and I am stoked about that. And I even used it in a race environment, and I went through every single channel that is used at Whooptopia and many large whoop races, and I had no complaints whatsoever, guys. This craft is phenomenal. I'm a big fan of it. You can't argue an $89 Pine and Fly that is literally ready for you to compete at the top level of whoop pilots out there in the world. This is not a custom build. This is the future of tiny whoop racing. Thank you, NewBeeDrone, for listening, for collaborating with me to create this craft. I had a lot of input on this craft, as did many of the pilots on NewBeeDrone team, but me and Kelvin have tossed back and forth ways to really take it to the next level, and this is it, guys. This is it. There is a couple things that I personally would do. Like I said, with mine, I put in the Rennie hardware, lighter camera mount, lighter camera, but I killed the VTX because of such. So don't be like me. Don't make the same mistake I did. Learn from this video, understand. If you have questions, reach out to me. More than happy to answer any questions you guys may have. And with that, this video has probably gone way longer than I intended it to go. So I will just thank you guys that did watch. Please share it around, share it to your friends. Everyone needs this information. I want you guys to enjoy this craft as much as I do. Shout out NewBeeDrone. Peace out, y'all. Have a good one. Thank you.